International football began in 1872 when Scotland played out a 0-0 draw with England at Hamilton Crescent in Partick, Glasgow. Wales and Northern Ireland were the next to get on board, and almost every major European and South American nation had a national team by the start of the 1920s. International tournament football at the Olympics in 1924 and 1928 proved to be a big hit, and in 1930, FIFA experimented with the idea of a World Cup. It would be fair to say the concept took off a bit, and the FIFA World Cup is now the biggest sporting event on the planet. I've had lots of requests to do this video, which is one of those that is a bit random and arbitrary, but also quite fun to make. Right, I'll crack on with the list, but one thing I want to make absolutely clear is that the inclusions are based solely on how good the national team is in the present day, not historically. So Bulgaria's 1994 World Cup showing and Greece's 2004 Euro success have absolutely no bearing on their ranking, only the current crop and recent exploits. Here are my views on the best national football team for every letter from A to Z. A. Argentina. Argentina may be a bit of a basket case in international football right now, but they're still clearly the best side whose name starts with an A. Algeria, Australia and Austria are the only real competition, and despite being AFCON champions, I can't stretch as far as saying Algeria are better than Argentina. The two-time world champions have some excellent forward and wide players at their disposal right now, but can be found a little wanting in defence and midfield, as well as being highly reliant on their all-time leading goalscorer Lionel Messi. Argentina lost to eventual winners France in the round of 16 at the 2018 World Cup, as well as losing to eventual winners Brazil in the semi-finals of the 2019 Copa America. B. Belgium. A quick reminder for those of you who like to skip the introductions, and I know you're out there, that this list is based solely on current ability and not at all on historic achievements or talent. I re-emphasise that here specifically since Brazil, historically, have been the greatest national team of all time, but right now, they just miss out to Belgium. Brazil and Belgium actually faced each other at the 2018 World Cup, where Belgium were much the better side. Belgium are enjoying a golden generation right now with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard and Romelu Lukaku at their disposal, and if they don't win a Euros or a World Cup with this group, they possibly never will. C. Croatia. There's a trio of options when it comes to the letter C, with Croatia, Colombia and Chile all having decent squads. Croatia were World Cup finalists in 2018, whilst Colombia went out to England in the round of 16 and Chile failed to qualify however. For a country of just 4 million people, Croatia has produced some excellent footballers. Among their current crop, Ivan Rakitic, Ivan Perisic and of course Luka Modric stand out, and currently topping their Euro 2020 qualifying group, Croatia stand out as the best national team for the letter C. D. Denmark. There are less options when we come to D, where Denmark are very comfortable winners. The Scandinavians have often been competitive, famously winning the European Championships in 1992, and they're still a decent outfit now. They were only knocked out of the 2018 World Cup by eventual finalist Croatia on penalties, and they look well placed to win a tough Euro 2020 qualifying group right now. In Denmark's current squad, the outstanding individuals are probably Kasper Schmeichel, Simon Kjær, and their talisman Christian Eriksen. E. England. I can say confidently that there is no national bias to me calling England the best national football team beginning with E, primarily since there is very little in the way of competition. England looked in danger of entering the footballing wilderness as the golden generation petered out with nothing to show for their talents, but Gareth Southgate's men ironically outperformed the golden generation at their first attempt in 2018, reaching the World Cup semi-finals. Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling are undoubtedly England's two finest players, but from Ben Chilwell to Jadon Sancho, there is a sprinkling of quality throughout the squad. F. France. Reigning world champions and a national team with greater depth than any other on the face of earth right now, France is probably the best national team in the world, and certainly the best, starting with F. Didier Deschamps guided a fine young group of players to the final of Euro 2016 on home soil, where the French suffered a shock defeat to Portugal. They made amends 2 years later in Russia, winning the World Cup pretty comfortably, with the exception of a really tough semi-final against Belgium. The French squad is dripping in quality, but the likes of Raphael Varane, N'Golo Kante, Kylian Mbappe and Antoine Griezmann have been key to their recent successes. G. Germany. World champions in 2014 and absolute flops in 2018, we're not used to seeing Germany turn up at a major finals and fail quite so spectacularly, especially not when they do actually have some very good players. They have since finished bottom of their 2018-19 UEFA Nations League group and are now second in their Euro 2020 qualifying group, tied on points with the Netherlands. Germany is still managed by Joachim Löw, who acts some pretty big names following failure in Russia, and younger players like Niklas Zula, Julian Brandt, and Serge Gnabry could well hold the key for Germany going forward. H. Hungary. My apologies go out to all our Honduran subscribers, but the country's pretty shoddy showing in the 2019 Gold Cup makes this a pretty easy decision. The Hungarian national team in the early to mid 1950s is among the finest national football teams ever assembled, but Hungary's current crop is a far cry from that. Hungary haven't qualified for the World Cup final since 1986, although they did reach the knockout stages of Euro 2016. They look well placed to qualify for Euro 2020 ahead of both Wales and Slovakia in qualifying, and with Balázs Djudjusák as their talisman, Hungary are our best shouts for H. I. Italy. The Italian national team has long been a dynasty of the international game, winning 4 World Cups and 1 European Championship, but they've been a little out of sorts in recent times. Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup for only the second time in their history in 2018, the other having been in 1958. They have already qualified for Euro 2020, having won all 8 of their qualifiers as they look to rebuild under Roberto Mancini. J. Japan. Japan have long been one of the strongest national teams in Asia, and they were the only Asian nation to reach the knockout stage at the 2018 World Cup, giving Belgium a real scare in the round of 16. They have since reached the final of the Asian Cup, they topped their 2022 World Cup qualifying group, and they have recently beaten the likes of Paraguay, Iran, and Uruguay. K. Korea Republic. I would go as far as stating that this was the toughest decision in this entire video so far between the Korea Republic national team, as it is recognised by FIFA, you may refer to them as South Korea, and the Kosovo national team. I should also mention Korea DPR national team, or the North Korean national team, who are also eligible here. Kosovo have only been UEFA members since 2016, but they've already beaten the likes of Czech Republic, Bulgaria, and Montenegro. They've drawn with Denmark, and they played out a thrilling game with England, which admittedly, they did end up losing 5-3. Korea Republic, or South Korea meanwhile, are one of the powerhouses of the Asian game. Led by Tottenham star Son Heung-min, South Korea beat Germany at the 2018 World Cup, and they have since beaten the likes of Bolivia, Australia, and Colombia. Kosovo are mightily impressive at this early stage in their development, but I've just edged towards Korea Republic at the last. L. Luxembourg. It's another tough decision for L, but not because there are a few good options, just because there are multiple really bad ones. Lebanon, Luxembourg, Lithuania, Latvia, and Libya are the contenders, none of whom have ever qualified for the World Cup, and none of whom are any great shakes right now. It's probably a toss-up between Lebanon and Luxembourg, and given they compete in completely different confederations, it's not easy to say who is the strongest of the two. Lebanon is slightly higher in the FIFA World Rankings, but I suspect Luxembourg would edge a game between the two. M. Mexico. Mexico is a football-crazed nation of almost 130 million people, and in some respects it is surprising that the country has never really established itself as a power on the world stage. Having said that, of the 21 World Cup finals there have been, Mexico have been to 16 of them, which is more than France, Spain, and England. For the last 7 World Cups, dating all the way back to 1994, Mexico have gone out in the round of 16 every time, so you can't knock their consistency. The current Mexico side is as mixed as ever. They did win the 2019 Gold Cup, which is no great shock for Mexico, and in the forms of Hector Herrera, Irving Lozano, and Raul Jimenez, they do have some very good players. N. Netherlands. International football's nearly men nearly became international football's flops for a short while, as the Netherlands somehow managed to fail to qualify for not just the 2018 World Cup, but also Euro 2016. They look to have restored some normality now, reaching the final of the first UEFA Nations League and topping their Euro 2020 qualifying group. The Netherlands have some outstanding young players from Matthijs de Ligt to Frenkie de Jong to and with Champions League winners like Virgil van Dijk and Jorginho Wijnaldum. The one thing the Netherlands really lack is a proper centre-forward to give their attack some teeth, but they're still a tidy outfit who look to be a competitive force once again. O. Oman. Oh man, there really aren't any great candidates for the letter O. Indeed, the national team who take it is almost as bad as that joke. Oman is the only country on earth whose name starts with an O, so Oman takes the title as the best national team starting with an O, despite the fact that the national team itself is ranked 84th by the FIFA World Rankings. Oman's best known player is probably Saad Al Mukhani, who plays for Al Nazir, and I'll wager that fewer than 1 in 10 of you have heard of him. The Oman national team is managed by former Netherlands international and former Everton boss Ronald Koeman's brother, Erwin Koeman. P. Portugal. A force in European international football over the last 20 years, but rarely a threat in the World Cup, Portugal won Euro 2016, finished third at Euro 2012, and reached the final of Euro 2004. For more than a decade, Portugal's talisman has of course been Cristiano Ronaldo, who is his country's all-time leading appearance holder, goal scorer, and remains their star man now. Portugal also have a strong spine with Rui Patricio, Pepe, Bernardo Silva, and now João Felix through the heart of their team, and they comfortably see off Poland for the letter P. Q. Qatar. The decision to award the 2022 World Cup to Qatar may have been an egregious act even by FIFA standards, but that is not the fault of Qatari footballers, who have made an impressive rise up the FIFA World Rankings in recent times. Managed by former Barcelona youth coach Felix Sanchez-Bass, Qatar qualified for the 2022 World Cup automatically, but they won the Asian Cup earlier this year for the first time in their history. Almoez Ali was the star at that tournament, and the 23-year-old is likely to be the man Qatar look to when they play in the World Cup for the first time in their history in 2022. R. Russia. There is perhaps a little bit of debate to be had between Russia and Romania for the letter R, since Romania come in 10 places ahead of Russia in the FIFA World Rankings. I think the current Russia team is stronger than the current Romania team, however, and their performances and results when it matters back that up. Russia reached the quarterfinals of the 2018 World Cup on home soil, knocking out Spain and losing on penalties to Croatia. Romania haven't qualified for the World Cup since 1998. Russia have already qualified for Euro 2020, Romania are currently third in their qualifying group. So it's Russia who take it for me, with a handful of dangerous players like Denis Cheryshev, Alexander Golovin and Ertem Dzyuba. S. Spain. It's only right that I should give a quick honourable mention to Switzerland here, who reached the UEFA Nations League finals and the knockout stage of the 2018 World Cup, but Spain are clearly the best national team starting with S. Dominant in world and European football between 2008 and 2012, Spain are still recovering from the loss of players like Xavi, Iniesta and David Silva. However, from 1 to 23, their squad is still laced with quality, from Sergio Ramos and Gerard Piqué in defence to Sergio Busquets and Thiago in midfield. They've already qualified for Euro 2020, as well as beating England 2-1 and Croatia 6-0 in the UEFA Nations League. T. Turkey. There could be a debate to be had between Turkey and Tunisia, since Tunisia come in higher in the FIFA World Rankings and qualified for the 2018 World Cup whilst Turkey did not, but it would be a pretty swift and easily dismissed argument by me. The Turkey national team have bounced back from a mixed 2018 with a really strong 2019, winning 8 of their 10 fixtures and only losing 1. That run includes wins over Albania, Greece and France, with their only defeat coming against Iceland. U. Uruguay. I will give a shout out to our friends across the pond, the US of A, who not only constitute this channel's second biggest audience, but also have a competitive national team, given that football isn't the nation's most popular sport. The finest national team starting with a U, however, is undoubtedly Uruguay. 2-time world champions, or 4-time if you include the 1924 and 1928 Olympics, Uruguay are perennial overachievers on the international stage. Uruguay are best known right now for their brilliant front two of Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani, and they could have had a really good go in Russia in 2018 were it not for an injury to Cavani and meeting France in the quarter-finals. V. Venezuela. Venezuela may be known as the whipping boys of South American football, but when the only other countries starting with a V are Vanuatu, Vatican City and Vietnam, your odds are pretty good. Indeed, next to those three, Venezuela look like football's Harlem Globetrotters. Ranked 26th in FIFA's World Rankings, the likes of Thomas Rincon and Solomon Rondon are Venezuela's main men, and they've beaten the likes of Argentina and the USA in 2019. W. Wales. One of the oldest national teams on earth, Wales haven't qualified for the World Cup since their first appearance in 1958, although they did reach the semi-finals of Euro 2016, which was also their first appearance in the European Championships. Gareth Bale is obviously the star of the Welsh side, but they also have the likes of Ben Davies, David Brooks, Harry Wilson and Daniel James, the last three of whom are all really young, exciting and attacking players. X. Chile. Okay, there are no national teams whose names start with an X, and since Chile in Catalan is spelt Chile and Chile missed out to Croatia for C, that's just about as good as you're going to get. Y. Yemen. Yemen take the crown when it comes to the letter Y, absolutely blowing away all the non-existent competition. Yemen are ranked 141st in the FIFA World Rankings, and they regularly get beaten even by their relatively poor Asian opponents. Yemen have won just one of their 9 fixtures in 2019 against Lebanon, losing 5-0 to both Iran and Uzbekistan. Z. Zambia. And so we come to Z, the final letter of the alphabet, and the inevitable clash of two footballing heavyweights in the forms of Zambia and Zimbabwe. Neither have ever qualified for the World Cup, but Zambia did win the African Cup of Nations back in 2012. Both countries have similar populations, and there isn't a gaping chasm between the two, but Zambia deserve to take it. They've beaten Namibia and Morocco in 2019, and even have a couple of players you may have heard of, namely Stoppela Sunzu of Metz in Ligue 1 and Enoch Mwepu, who plays for Champions League side RB Salzburg. That's it for today's video. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Since you've got this far and in exchange for eternal good luck and happiness, why not subscribe and turn on notifications for the ever-brilliant HITC Sevens. Also, for mobile users, if you click on your screen now there should be some suggestions of other videos YouTube thinks you might like, and I agree with YouTube. If you're watching on desktop, they should appear of their own accord. Thank you all for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a brilliant day.